Hey, Shine to Be Kind ambassadors, thanks so much for tuning in. We are here at the office of the Canadian Mental Health Association of Simcoe County, and we are so excited to chat with Liz and Lynn, who are on the fundraising committee. We've been lucky enough to be asked here to do an interview during lockdown, and we will do so socially distanced. Next week is their emotional week, which we are excited because it coincides with our emotional pillar month for May. What does it mean to get real about your emotions? Well, stay tuned to find out. Hey, Shine to Be Kind ambassadors, thanks so much for staying tuned. As promised, we are here with Liz and Lynn, and we are at the CMHA of Simcoe County, and we're here to talk about our emotions and get real with them. First off, ladies, thanks so much for having us here. We are so excited to be in the home of the place where we're fundraising for, so thank you, and especially during lockdown. I know we are following all social distancing rules, so we are safely distanced, and we do have our masks on. So if we wanted to get right into it, let's talk about Emotion Week. Next week is your Emotion Week from May 3rd to May 9th, which actually coincides with our Emotional Pillar Month. And so did you want to just talk a little bit about that week and what that involves?
Sure. The theme of the week is really recognizing that people are feeling a whole range of emotions, and that it's really important to recognize those emotions, whether they're comfortable for you or not comfortable for you. And that it's okay to name the uncomfortable ones and feel them, because the way to move beyond them is to move through them.
Yes, absolutely. I find too that once I sort of validate the emotion, especially when I was going through therapy and really putting sort of a name or a face really to it in our minds, because some people deal with shapes and colors, that really helped to sort of navigate through that and then just move forward. Because it can come back, but just recognizing and knowing that you have to get through it really helped me. So I think it's awesome that you guys touch on that next week.
And I mean, we've been saying this for 14 months, that these are days that, we would never have thought we would ever experience, right? So every day is something different, we keep hearing, these uncertain times. So to feel these range of emotions makes sense, because we're in a constant flux of stress, right? So we encourage people to, not to try to hide the emotion, not try to push them away or change them quickly, to validate them, give them a name, how are you feeling? Because that can help, right? That can help, make you accept it maybe a little bit better, sit with it, decide what you want to do with that feeling or thought. Because it makes sense that you're going to feel happy, sad, glad, mad. It makes sense because things are just so different right now, right?
Yes.
So the other thing is about, to be mentally well means experiencing all the emotions, not just happy all the time. So if you are thinking, wow, I'm, been pretty down lately, it could make sense because of what you're dealing with the pandemic, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. And I also keep saying as well that I personally never could have predicted, or it never even crossed my mind, even going through history classes and things like this and knowing about, previous pandemics and things like that, it never occurred to me that we would experience this. And I know we quite often joked at my house about zombie apocalypses, or I'd love it for if there was a snow month and I just stayed home for the whole month working, and here we are. I always plan for a flood in my house, or my roof to come off, or the safety of my child, but never ever imagine living through something like this. So, and collectively it's something that's all relatable because the entire world is going through it.
That's right.
And so some people who have been fortunate enough maybe to not even experience some of the emotions they're going through are now experiencing some, which can range from stress or grief, depression, and things that were heightened before, they're tenfold now. So I just know that it's difficult for everyone, and I'm really glad that Canadian Mental Health Association is aware of that and sort of shedding a light on it, because we kind of all need it.
Yeah, and we've been there since the beginning. We haven't stopped. We're an essential service. We have services that have to keep going. Some of course could pivot and become virtual, but we had to continue with that face-to-face for the most vulnerable people in our community and our crisis services, right? So helping folks like you said that maybe really haven't worried about their mental health, and then now bam, there's this whole new day and there's some new feelings that they're experiencing. So we have a whole new group of people that are reaching out for help.
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned feelings. So we are in the, I want to say, position to sort of showcase and share some personal information, which you ambassadors know that we try to do in all of our videos. So ladies, if you are inclined, would you want to share maybe some personal stories or lights on any emotions that maybe you've let yourself succumb to, or that you might, feel like need a little more nurturing during this time?
Sure. For me, I think that something that I really recognize about myself, most recently, not so much in the beginning of the pandemic, but I would say probably in the last 6 months, that I feel some days sad, a little bit lonely. And I have a beautiful family. I have a wonderful husband and 2 children. And, they certainly fill my life, but I'm really, really longing to see my friends and family again, my extended family. I have cousins that are like my brothers. I have so many great friends that, we just haven't been able to see in a year, and it's really weighing on me. And, sometimes I'll get into some of that negative self-talk. Oh, Lynn, you shouldn't feel like this because you've got such a great full life. But it's really hard, when you were so used to being able to invite a family over for dinner, have a dinner party, or go to a restaurant, or, go to my sister's place. It's just, you don't have, those freedoms anymore. Because, of course, we all need to follow public health guidelines because we want COVID-19, to get to a point where it's safe to do those things again. But I think that sometimes I can feel, a little bit hopeless even, right? Like, when is this going to end? It's kind of like a roller coaster. You hear good news and then you hear bad news. It's like one step forward, 2 steps back. And so, lately I've had to try really hard to just keep positive, and be grateful for, for the things I do have, because I'm certainly blessed in my life, but sometimes that's been hard for me lately, which is not normal for me.
Yes, I think we are all exhausted of using our 2 of the major sensories, which would be visual and our hearing, because we're just on videos constantly. We are still trying to stay connected to visually see them and get stimulated that way of, hey, I'm still connecting, but really it's those other sensories and senses of the touch, the hug, the, sharing the same space, being able to go over and, I'm a hugger, so coming here and not being able to hug you guys, hello, or goodbye, or whatever, even to that extent is just, it's very difficult. And I think that that's what we're all longing for, is that social, in-person aspect, and we're just all exhausted of just doing it through a screen. So I really do truly empathize with what you're going through, because I do too sometimes feel a little guilty with how I'm feeling, like, hey, I have this great life, but I feel really crappy today. I'm doing this really great thing today, but I'm just really frustrated. And it might not even have anything to do with the task at hand, but just the feeling has overcome myself personally just so often. And I've recognized the depression bouts more often. Like, I'm a very outgoing person. I would not say I'm, depressed at all. I have, I guess, gotten seasonal bouts of it, but I definitely recognize for myself that it comes more in waves more often.
Right.
It could be even several times through one day or through that week. So, and I relate it to the mom guilt, because I don't want to feel guilty for feeling bad right now, because there are so many people in worse off positions, like people who live alone and, all these things. So I think it is great that we're saying that, yes, we're blessed. Yes, we have these great families, but it's okay that I'm feeling this way, because at the end of the day, we're human.
That's right.
We're moms, we're business people, all that second. So I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm. And, talking about being a mom, I think the online learning for me is probably one of my more difficult things to manage. So I have 2 kids at home doing the online learning, like lots of other people are trying to manage, and then also trying to work from home, right? And it's tough, right? And it's really tough. I get into something with work, and then I have to, check in to make sure my kids are actually still on their classroom, like they're still, that they haven't taken a break, or, or my son, he's in high school, so I've gone to check on him and he's got his classroom open, but he's gaming on the side. And I'm like, listen, you need to be paying attention, right?
Yes.
And the cameras are off, right? Because we live in the boonies, so our Wi-Fi is awful. So there's not even that connection. Like the teacher can't even see half the kids, right?
Right.
So there's that whole piece, and then trying to balance it with, trying to get my own work done, which, we're busy, right? Things are still really hopping, which is great.
Yes.
So I often feel like we're throwing all these balls in the air, and then every few seconds there's another ball, and there's another ball, and I have this image of us trying to juggle it and not drop anything, right? And I'm lucky Liz, my team, and we check in a lot, which we have to, because the day can start, I can wake up and say, you know what, I feel good today, and then this thought will come in my mind about something random, and I instantly, there's a switch, which is new, and I'm mad, or I just have a whole other change of feeling. So Lynn and I, we're really good at checking in multiple times during the day, because by lunch it could be a whole different feeling, right?
Yes.
You start off being like, okay, I'm gonna get through this day, we've got this, and then by lunch I'm like, you know what, I'm quitting and moving, right? So,
Yes.
yeah, so that talking is so important, and I know, we have to do it virtually mostly, and it can be really exhausting. I think that word exhausting is something that everybody probably is feeling.
Yes, and
Absolutely.
I empathize with you on that as well. We also have a 13-year-old at home. In light of that, she's also graduating this year, which I know a lot of graduates experience what she will be this year, last year, unfortunately. So there's just an array of milestones we're still missing, and trying to hold everything together and making sure, I was just reminiscing about this and thinking about all the other parents, some who may be like me, but then there's just so many varieties of parents and parenting styles. But for myself and our home, we're very academically inclined, so we put a lot of weight on school, the importance of education. So for us, including our daughter, we were all very stressed and flustered about keeping up with grades and ensuring that we're getting the proper information, the rubrics, the dialogue, we're not missing anything. So I think for us that was very stressful, is making sure that academic importance, which is important to us and a lot of people,
For sure.
and trying to manage that, like you said, I'm working from home full time, checking in with her, making sure she's all good, and sometimes it's, I have an experiment today, last minute kind of thing. So then we're, scrambling around. But I try to remember then the joy of actually having the ability to be around her so often right now, and trying to reflect on that I've taken time for granted, I feel. And so I've tried to really embrace more of those moments instead of feeling flustered or that I'm being taken away from work, or I'm kind of okay, what do we need? I'll tell work I'll be gone for 10 minutes, and we do this fun experiment or whatever. So ladies, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to discuss your emotional week through the CMHA of Simcoe County, but also sharing your raw emotions and authenticity about what you're going through, because yes, you are great ambassadors of mental health and mental wellness, but again, you also are humans, and I love seeing us being vulnerable, because that's also how we can relate to each other as well. So thank you so much for doing that. I know it can be very difficult, but I appreciate it, and I know our ambassadors appreciate it as well. We will be doing a giveaway for this video, so if you are inclined to share your own personal stories, or maybe an emotion that you are dealing with right now, whether you feel like thousands of other people are feeling it as well, it's really great to see visually the comments and other people relating. It really gives that sense of relief, because we can have the thought of knowing that we're all in the same storm together, but seeing that people are reaching out and connecting is great too. So we hope you engage. We'll leave the details in the description of the video on how you can win the giveaway. And ladies, thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Thank you,
It's wonderful. Good.